In this video, we're going to be using sound design to transform our project from this and then with sound design into this. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to be subscribed because I'm uploading a video every single day of this month. In this video, we're going to be talking about the importance of sound design and how crucial it is to your project. I guarantee if you watch this whole video, there's going to be plenty of tips and tricks that you didn't previously know about before watching this video that you're going to be using in your next projects. If that sounds interesting to you, drop a like on this video and let's get into the breakdown. So starting off on audio track 1, you can see there's a bunch of cuts. Half of them are pink, half of them are blue, and there's some constant power. And that's because all the cuts with pink actually have a low pass filter on them. Sometimes I keyframe them, sometimes I don't. That basically gives you this like muffled, like underwater sound effect, and it basically just adds a little bit of like dynamic to the edit itself. I'll go ahead and play that so you guys can hear. So you guys can already tell the difference of adding those little high pass and low pass filters. It's a super underrated effect for audio. And some of the different techniques here, you can see I keyframed the low pass filter and then I actually cut back to the original audio and then here again added the low pass, cut back to the original, low pass, cut back to the original, low pass keyframed. So it has this kind of stutter sound effect. And as you can see, it's synced up with one of the presets from Opium. So it kind of just fits and makes the video feel more interactive. And then I use this technique on the clip where Lone's holding the axe to add some distortion because I think it was like the most crucial clip in the whole entire edit. It's kind of like how the edit kind of ends off. And when I go ahead and play it, it's barely even noticeable, but sometimes a lot of these audio effects are kind of just about feeling. So here it is. You hear how it gets a little bit more muffled. It already has that low pass filter on there, but it just adds a little bit extra of like that distortion and kind of like muffled sound. So then I went ahead and added some risers, some whooshes, and just some atmosphere sounds. The sound effects I used were from my Essentials sound effects bundle. A.O. Doosan designed it. He's like the man when it comes to sound effects. So I collabed with him on a sound effects pack and he absolutely killed it. And then I also used Tiny Tape's risers and whooshes pack. So anything in this orange color is from my Essentials bundle. And then everything else that's in this like bluish color is from Tiny Tape's risers and whooshes pack. I'll have them linked down in the description. If you guys don't already have sound effects packs, I'd highly recommend you go snag one just because of the convenience of having all these different sound effects in folders sorted for you, named, and they're already high quality effects. You don't have to go search, spend a bunch of time and do stuff. I'm constantly using my Essentials sound effects bundle and I recently just started using the risers and whooshes and I don't think I'm gonna stop using them. Some important techniques that I use to make these sound effects just feel better and fit the edit more is if you right click and go to audio gain, you can adjust the audio gain up and down. Some of the other things I'll do is just add exponential fades. That way it kind of fades in and out if I want to cut the whoosh a little early or something. So I'm gonna play the edit with no song, just the risers, whooshes, and just a little bit of the atmosphere. And now the risers, whooshes, and atmosphere with the song. And you can see with the risers, whooshes, and atmosphere that it's already transformed our edit to make it just have so much more life. So you can see here how I kind of cut the riser just how we did earlier. And when we play the riser just by itself, you can hear that sound effect that it adds. Also, on one of my slow motion clips here, I actually wanted to speed up the slow motion. It's kind of like a longer audio clip. And if you press R on your keyboard, you can actually drag and make it shorter. And you can kind of hear how that changes the sound versus this. But when you do go ahead and speed it up or slow it down, it is going to change the pitch of the audio. It's actually going to make it either
higher pitched
or lower pitched. So to get it to sound back like how you want it to, you can add a pitch shifter sound effect on. And for our case, it got a little too deep. So I actually went up 12 semitones, which is actually 1 octave. If you guys are familiar with audio, it doesn't really matter too much. If you turn it up to the right, it's going to get higher pitched. And if you turn it down to the left, it's going to get lower pitched. So I actually went ahead and duplicated that clip and brought it up 1.5 octaves or 18 semitones. And then again, how we added distortion on this original song, how it kind of has that hit. I went ahead and just matched that energy and added it onto the slow motion. And again, it's something you can barely even notice, but it does just tie it together a little bit more. So now it's time to add those project dependent sound effects. So for example, for this edit, it was the snowmobile, the footsteps, and the blood, stuff that isn't going to be in every single project. But when you look at your edit, maybe something that you want to emphasize on or bring attention to will really help. Let's go ahead and play just those project dependent sound effects. As you can hear, just those sound effects by themselves kind of sound a little bit out of place, but when you texture them with the risers, the whooshes, the atmosphere, and then also the sound design on the song itself, really ties all that stuff together. But for these, I took it even a little step further and added some reverb and some other effects onto the audio just to change it up a bit, make it feel a little bit more like it's actually in the environment. So here are the sound effects with no reverb or any effects besides just the keyframed audio and exponential fade. So after I added some reverb, if you guys are interested in any of the reverb presets I used, and then this is with the reverb and all the effects on. You can hear how it has a little bit more of like the echo and it feels a little bit more like meshed into the environment. Another technique I used is I actually used the panner to pan the audio from left to right. So when we play just this one by itself, and then here it is without that panned. It still sounds good, but it just doesn't have as much of that dynamic. And I think that's what's really important about sound design. It's those things that like maybe you wouldn't really pick up on immediately as a listener or the viewer, but it does just feel more whole. So for example, the snowmobile here is kind of starting off on the left-hand side and then it's driving away to the right. So that's why I went ahead and panned it to the right. Another really useful and important tip while doing sound design is if you press P on your keyboard and go to this bar on any sound effect, you can actually click and add a point. And if you do that, you can kind of drag it up and down. And also if you go to the effects controls, highlight them, go to Bezier, you can actually now click back on that point and kind of slope it up however you want. So it can, like, you can have it rise in like this. As you can see on this audio clip of the snowmobile coming through, I actually have it kind of rise up. So when we play that, you can hear how it's the loudest right here and then it slowly fades out throughout. And then after going through and adding all those techniques that we just learned, this is the sound effects with no song at all. And then finally, let's go ahead and play everything all together. That's pretty much all I got for you guys in this one. If you guys did enjoy the video, take a second and drop a like. It really does help push out my content to more people. If you want any of the sound design packs that I mentioned in this video, I'll have them linked down in the description. I also have a website that I use, freesounds.org, to get a lot of free sound effects like the snowmobile and the footsteps and the blood, all that stuff for free. If you don't already have a sound design pack, I'd highly recommend you get one. That way you just have high quality sound effects on your computer ready to use in your project. And you don't have to search for them and waste a bunch of time. But that's it for this video. Peace.